PTF and JK special presentation from In the Money Media, brought to you by the In the Money Plus Kentucky Derby package. This is where you can get all of our material. There's loads of stuff that's going to be free. This isn't some tout thing, but if you want everything we have to offer, including trip notes, speed figures, grid picks from the entire team, wagering strategies, workout reports, and much, much more, sign up for that. InTheMoneyPlus.com, the place to go. Hey, JK, remember when we used to do hour-long podcasts?
I do. I do remember, yeah.
This is not one of those. We're going to do 5 minutes. We're going to quick hit on the biggest takeaways from the draw. I'll let you go first, and I think I know where you're going to go. Your number one takeaway from this Kentucky Derby draw.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the horse, it was likely going to be the Derby favorite. I don't know what Nick actually made him. Did he keep him the favorite?
He did?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that if you look at it objectively, we all know the rail isn't where you want to be. It's not the most ideal place. There hasn't been a lot of horses that have accomplished a lot from down there, and it's been a bad situation for highly regarded horses. The one thing I will say is Renegade's style is one in which I don't think it matters as much as it would matter for a horse like Justify or American Pharaoh or, whatever. I mean, Sierra Leone, if I'm not mistaken, broke from the 2 and almost won the race by half an inch. I think the best horse can win from down there, especially when they have that style of being able to kind of take back, save ground in the first turn, and then produce that one run while other horses were wide fighting for position earlier. I don't think it's the worst thing, but it's certainly not the best.
It's not what you would have picked, that's for sure. I'm going to do a deep dive on what the numbers tell us. If you want to see that statistical analysis, sign up for our free newsletter. Actually, the easiest thing is just to go to this little website I set up, daily2derby.com. Go there tomorrow morning. I'll tell you what this means in numbers. I'm with you. It's not the death knell of the horse's chances. It's not what you'd like. I did notice while doing my work, JK, that a couple of runners that ran with credit from the rail but didn't win, Jazzle and Mo Donegal. You know what those horses have in common a few weeks later, right?
Belmont fame, is it?
Couple Belmont winners. If it doesn't work out for Renegade on Saturday, maybe it'll work out there. Let's talk about the pace in the race. 6 Speed seems like the most likely horse to me to make the top. I think, you might think, ooh, he got the 17. Maybe that's bad for Speed, but I'm not so sure. It isn't better if you think you could be the Speed early to be outside, let that race unfold, stay clean. What do you think about the 17 for 6 Speed?
I don't think it's a problem at all. I mean, you look at, what Big Brown did from way out there. I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying a speed type horse. American Pharaoh, a fast speed type horse. I think from out there, it gives you options, especially when you can see what everyone else is going to do to your inside. It just gives you choices, and you don't have horses coming over on you to get into a position to save ground to the first turn. If I had a Derby runner, I wouldn't be upset about being out there either. The one thing I will say though is that I think that of the perfect draws that I feel like we saw was probably Further Ado.
Yes.
If
Next
you
on
are
my
one
list
of,
to ask you about, I'm glad you just picked up the ball and ran.
Yeah, if you're one of those, he's a Keeneland horse for course type. I mean, this doesn't help you at all. But if you're also one of those, I think he needs an easy trip type. Well, I think this is the best situation for him to get the best trip, right? All the other speed is inside of him. He can pop away from there, end up in the 2 or 3 path, wherever he chooses. He's going to have possibly 2 horses to his outside that could be problematic to him. Golden Tempo is going to take back. Full Effort, I would imagine, is not going to be the quickest away from there, especially considering the fact that they're both trained by Brad Cox, Further Ado. And he's going to end up in the kind of clear out there with no one to his outside, with lots of opportunities to make lots of decisions. I think he ends up working out the best trip based on the draw.
I like where you're going with that. And I'll tell you what, Brad Cox doesn't necessarily disagree. He was smiling visibly on the Churchill feed, talking about the draw for not just Further Ado, but also Commandment. And I agree that the 6 is a pretty good draw for him. And Saez is a good jockey. He's so good in the gate. He's aggressive. I think he can find a position from there. Historically, that range of gates, post 5 through 8, have produced a ton of Derby winners. This is a versatile horse in a draw that gives him options. What do you think of the 6 for Commandment?
Yeah, it's not a problem. I mean, looking at this list, I don't really think anyone drew poorly outside of if you're in the belief that Renegade did. I'm sure Chad probably wanted to be a little bit closer inside with emerging market, but definitely not problematic at all. Baffert with Martin Garcia and Litmus Test, I can tell you what they're likely going to do from there. There's no jacking around when it comes to those two in those situations. So Yeah, I mean, I think Commandment's fine. I mean, I think if you're a Commandment guy, if you're a or gal or a renegade, I don't think is impossible. You'll probably get a little bit of a better price because of the rail draw than you were going to get, and I don't think it changes the circumstances very much. Um, yeah, I think the draw worked out pretty well. No one got absolutely annihilated, in my opinion, by the draw, even though I'm sure Micropole and Renegade camp aren't very happy.
It ain't great, but I will say another thing. I meant to say this before. I had it in my notes about the one draw. You know, they have this 20 horse gate now. So one thing that does is eliminate how hard it was for the horse in the 14 who seemingly got abused every year. That's not an issue anymore. There isn't that break between the two gates, but also the 20 horse gate in theory gives the horse down on the rail a little bit more room. We've only used it a couple of times, and I don't think even every time there was a horse in it because of scratches. So that's more hope for the Renegade camp as we go forward. You mentioned one sneaky horse to maybe try to make the front based on the draw. I'll throw another one out at you, JK. Denon Bourbon. This is a horse I could see them saying, hey, we're going to take no prisoners from here. We got that breeding. We're familiar with the Japanese style of racing where stamina is important. He's got the right blend of stamina and speed. If he goes, that's going to be an interesting wrinkle too on the front end here. How seriously are you taking him?
You know, look, Forever Young is one of those that makes it hard for me. You know, I've always said that the Japanese will win a race like this when we don't have any really good ones, right? Or if we just have one good one and they happen to have an unfortunate trip. It doesn't feel like one of those situations. It feels like we have probably 4 really good ones, and one of them is going to work out a pretty good trip. And that would make it hard for me to think that a horse like this, that although is undefeated, I haven't heard a lot of buzzy things about, you know, how fast his numbers could be. I guess if I start to hear that, that could change my opinion. But as of right now, I don't see him being able to beat these horses. He certainly could be a pace presence, but I don't think he can beat these horses.
We will leave it there. We've got so much more coming down the pike. I've got a special offer I'll give right at the end of the video. For right now, though, I will say, make sure you subscribe to the In the Money Media YouTube channel. We're going for the gusto, JK. We're going to see how close we can get to 20,000 subs by Derby Day. We've been picking them up left and right. There's a little bug in the corner of the screen that says ITM Inner Circle. That is a tier of our Plus service that's open right now. You join that, you can bet with us for Kentucky Derby Day. We're putting together this bet share. It's open now. Go to inthemoneyplus.com. Find out what's going on there. I'll be putting together some nice, sophisticated tickets to take a run at this Derby Super and probably that late pick 5 Derby Day as well. Any closing thoughts from you?
We're getting close. We've got numbers now. And it's so funny. This is the day it feels like my brain starts thinking about these horses and their post positions that allows me to randomly remember post position numbers of horses from years past. Random ones that like make no sense. You know, it's
what did you come up with? What's stuck in your head?
Dunkirk was the 15. How about that?
You don't need that brain cell anymore. You don't need go into the project file and delete that one. Good stuff, JK. Enjoy your day at the Big A.